Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are back. This is the Fryar Place, where the conversations are fire. I'm your host with the most, Irving Fryar. I see a few of you who have been waiting in the wings, and you're already logged in. You're already watching right now. So throw something in the comments so I can shout you out so I know who is watching right now. We have, as we always do, a very exciting, a very interesting, a very special guest today. Something a little bit different on the Fryar Place today. But before we get to that, like I said, everybody shout us out. Let me know who's there. I see a few of you have logged in already. You're watching already, but you have not acknowledged yourself. Please throw something in the comments. I see you, Vinny Capriati. I appreciate that. Good evening to you as well. Who else? But the numbers are going crazy right now. All right, who else is on right now? Look, the numbers are flying. You all acknowledge yourselves. Say who you are. Let me know who's with us tonight. We're not going to be on all night long. How do you know, Vinny? How do you know who the guest is tonight? I mean, how do you... That's right. It's in the heading for the podcast tonight. I'm sorry. But that's all right. It's going to be interesting. He's going to teach me something about hockey tonight. But anyway, before we get to our guest, and remember, if you happen to have a question for our guest tonight, just throw a Q, capital Q, semicolon, and write your question in the comments, and we will try to get to it. And please don't forget to like us, to subscribe, to share us, and don't forget to comment tonight. All right? Don't forget to comment. But before we get to our guest tonight, listen, we got to pay the bills, so we'll be right back. Richard Melton, what's going on, brother? We'll be right back right after this.
Are you planning a special trip or a night out? Don't bother with the hassle of driving, parking, and traffic. Just call Ed's Smooth Transport. One-way or round trips available. We will take you there. And we will also pick you up. Enjoy a night on the town with Ed's Smooth Transport. Call us 609-471-2653 or 609-314-6619. Visit our website to take advantage of our monthly specials at www.smooftransport.com. Ed's Smooth Transport, where experience meets comfort.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there's a slightly slower pace of living. That's also where you'll find the home of Stoltz Fish Structures, where quality, integrity, and world-class customer service are more than just a way to do business. It's a way of life. From our humble beginning over 40 years ago in a small building, to the modern 65,000 square foot facility of today, we've remained at the forefront of our industry. Everything from gazebos and sheds to garages and pergolas, and everything in between.
All right, we're back. Good to see Richard. Mama, I see you. My mother is in the house tonight. Eddie Casper, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Thanks for shouting us out. Hope you're feeling better, Richard. Richard Melton, for those of you who don't know, Richard Melton is a Buffalo Bills fan, and he's disappointed right now. Hope, we see you. Hope Wiley is in the house. Listen, let me introduce our guest for tonight. He's a different guy. I mean, we've never had this sport, someone who played this sport on the Fryar Place as of yet, and we've been doing this for 2.5 years now. Peter, what's going on? Billy Bell's in the house. We see you too. He's born in Canada. He's a hockey player, and his position is left wing. Now, he's going to have to help me out with all of this because I'm not a hockey follower, so we're going to have a hockey lesson tonight. Drafted by the Philadelphia Flyers in 1979 with the 14th pick overall. Played from 1979 to 1994, which is 15 years in the league with the Flyers, Boston Bruins, Minnesota North Stars. I think it's HC Lugano. I believe he'll explain that to me. In the Hartford Whalers. Played in 5 Stanley Cup finals with 3 different teams. Won the 1987 Canada Cup with Team Canada against the Soviet Union, and that series is considered to be the best exhibition of hockey in the history of hockey. He's a part of, or was inducted to the Philly Sports Hall of Fame. He's also in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Y'all put your hands together for none other than my friend Brian Propp is in the house. What's going on, B? What's happening, man? How you doing?
I've been doing really well. It's just been really nice. But I wish the Eagles a good luck. Like next week, they deserve it, and so hopefully they can win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that at the end. We're gonna ask for your prediction at the end of this podcast, but or this show, I should say. But listen, man, you play the sport. I played a little. What is it? I guess you would call it street hockey with a stick and a ball in the street. I played a little bit of that when I was a kid, but as far as the positions and all that kind of stuff, man, I know nothing. You're gonna have to help me out. And I've done my research today on you. I was sitting down and looking stuff up so I could be at least try to sound intelligent, like I was informed. But man, I just didn't get it. So tell me how hockey works, because I couldn't find anything that said like you went to college to play hockey. So it talked about the junior leagues in hockey and how you were a great scorer and set records in the junior league, and then all of a sudden you were in the NHL. How does that work?
Well, so I grew up in a little town of 300 people in Saskatchewan, in the prairies, and so my dad was a Lutheran minister. He preached in English and German every Sunday, and I've got two brothers and two sisters. We're all 13 months apart. So we didn't have many players, so we put together not enough team just to get a team. Because in Saskatchewan, like it's really the province is better than Texas, and there's less than 1 million people in it. So it's all farms and wheat and oats and things like that. So you learn pretty good at that's the only thing you could do was kind of 30 and 40 below in January and February, and so you had to play hockey or go to school.
So you said 30, 40 below. You were playing hockey indoors, is that correct? Or were you playing hockey outdoors? Everything's frozen outdoors at 30 below.
It starts to snow in Halloween in Saskatchewan.
Wow.
And then it gets cold in December. And then when it gets cold in the middle of December, you put the rink in. Otherwise, you skated outside on the ponds. It's pretty cold, but you get used to it and you adjust for it. So like that's just the way I learned. It was simple life. We didn't have much TV, no phones, nothing going on. So you just had fun. You lived a good life, and you're thankful for everything you got.
So tell me exactly when it says in your bio on Wikipedia, you can't believe everything on Wikipedia, y'all. It talked about you being in the junior hockey leagues, and then the next thing you know, you're being drafted. So what is the junior hockey leagues?
Well, it's sort of like football in college.
Okay.
They get drafted by the pros. So same thing. Like when I was 15, I won the scoring in the league in Saskatchewan. Because I couldn't drive because I wasn't allowed to drive. So my parents had to take it. It was a 20 mile drive back and forth, and so they found a way to give me rides, and then I did really well. And then for 3 years, I played with great players like Brad McCrimmon, Ray Allison, Bill Derlego. We had good coaching, good players, and so we won almost all the time. We had 3 good years of winning. My first year, we only lost 12 games out of 72.
Wow.
My second year, we only lost 8. My last year, we only lost 5 games that year, like in the top league in juniors.
Wow. That's awesome. Is that something that you were able, you said you didn't have much TV, or was that something that just kind of came natural for you, hockey? Was it something that you had an idol or someone that you followed or someone you liked that was in the pros that you were kind of emulating yourself after? But how did the whole hockey thing come about And then how did you get so good? Because you were good, Doc. You weren't a slouch. You were the dude. I'm looking at your stats and looked you up, and I mean, you were the man, setting records and scoring left and right. You were the man. So how did that come to you so naturally? It had to be natural for you.
Well, I think it was good because my dad taught me the right way, like to be a good sport and to give back and be selfish, not be selfish, and just pass a little bit more. But we had,
Mhm.
like I said, we had good teams, good coaching, so that made a big difference. So like
Right.
at the start, like I couldn't have done it by myself. It takes a team to do well. But we had powerful teams. But I was one of the top leaders in the league, and so then I got drafted by the Flyers, at 1979, 80.
Hmm.
And so like we were still like, it's not like it was today where you go to the draft and you know when you're going to get picked.
Right.
Was working on the farm and I just got a call that I got made to the Flyers. So it's
Wow.
so different because like football, it's a big process now.
Right, right. Well, everything was, I mean, for me I got drafted in 84. So it was still similar. It wasn't a big deal back then like it is now. It's a whole pomp and circumstance and, fashion show. And people spend money now to go to the draft. It's almost like a game they're going to. They spend money to see the draft. Yeah, it's turned into a whole fiasco now. So you get drafted by the Flyers, 14th pick in the draft. You go to your first game and you score. I mean, this dude, you're a rookie. First game, you score the winning goal. You scored a winning
Yeah,
goal. You scored 2 goals in the game, but you scored a winning goal. So, I mean, did you know
yeah,
you were on your way at that time? Did you know that you were going to be considered one of the dudes?
Yeah, well, I think like I was 19 when I got started, and then of course I had Bob Clark and Reggie Leach. I played with them on the line at the
Right,
start,
right.
and then 20 years after that, like I went with Ken Lenz and Paul Holmgren, and then
Mm-hmm.
so like we had good teams. That was the year that like my first game, I scored the game winner against Bill Smith, and then we lost 9-2, and then it was like, oh, is this the way it's going to be like NHL? And then I decided, hey, we went 35 without a loss after that. So
Wow.
that's probably never be broken anymore. But it's a good way to start as a rookie. And then Pete Peters was a rookie too because Bernie Propp got hurt the year before. He
Mm-hmm.
lost his eye with a stick. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we had a couple other rookies that were there, but we had good leadership, like of course Bob Clark, Bill Barber, Reggie Leach, and of course and then after time, I was there for 11 years with the Flyers, and then we went
Mm-hmm.
to Tim Kerr and Mark Howe and Brad McCrimmon. But again, it's all about good leadership that you had, and you find ways to win, and then make sure that you're in the playoffs every time. And it's the character players that you have that you kick in the ass if they need, and they keep going. But it was for me. It was a good year at the first year, like 35 without a loss, and then we went to the finals against the Islanders and won in that, lost that, and overtime in Game 6. Otherwise, who knows? We would have won the Stanley Cup going to Game 7 in Philadelphia.
Wow. You mentioned names. You were rattling off names earlier. A bunch of those names I don't recognize. Probably those who are watching may not recognize, but I know there's a couple of names you said, like Reggie Leach and Bobby Clark. Those are familiar names that, even if you're not a hockey fan, you've heard those names before. But you play with a couple of other cats that I'm sure everybody knows their name, Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, man. What was it like? I mean, Wayne Gretzky supposedly, now I don't know, but Wayne Gretzky was the man of he was the man of all men, like the Michael Jordan in basketball. And I guess he scored so many points in one season, nobody will ever surpass it. But what was it like playing with those guys? I mean, and you're making history while you're playing with them.
Yeah, so that was in 1987. I was 7 years in the league, and then that was like after the third time that I was going to the finals, and then it was a Canada Cup against the Russians, and
Hmm.
so a couple of us got picked playing on that time, like Doug Crossman, Ron Hextall, and Rick Tocchet were part of it, but it was the top players in the time that they had all through Canada, and like Bork and Coffey and Lemieux,
Hmm.
Gretzky, Harichuk, top of the top players all through the league. So I was the oldest player on the team that year, and so and I had experience doing some world championships hockey before that, the bigger rinks, and so I kind of understood how to be a better player defensively. It's
Hmm.
sort of like you guys in football. Like you have plays that you have to know. Just like my first coach when I played for the Melville Millionaires, Jerry James was a professional hockey player and
Hmm.
a professional football player in Canada. But I think I learned from him the more about the plays that they did from football. It
Really?
taught me when I was 15 how
Hmm.
to memorize them and make sure that you did a good job. And so that really made a difference for me when I was 15, knowing all the plays and how people reacted. And so it just made it, the good coaches that I had made a big difference for me.
Wow, that's awesome, man. And then, I mean, you're a very humble guy. Every time I've been around you, you're just, you're there. You're not boisterous. You're not loud. You just kind of blend in with everybody. But man, you were you were runner up or second to Wayne Gretzky in 1987 in playoff scoring, man. That's listen. Gretzky didn't play around. He scored. And you were runner
Yeah.
up to him in 1987. And you're just this humble guy that walks around, you come to the golf tournaments. I see you every now and then. Hey, Herb, how you doing? You just you just blend in, man. You are a guy who's been at the top of the heap when it comes to hockey. And you had this special way of celebrating your scores. Eddie Casper wants me to ask you about what's it called? The goofball?
The guffaw.
Guffaw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you,
What's the guffaw, man? I know it was your way of celebrating a score.
Yeah, well, every time I scored a goal, I did. Well, it's tough to see, but I put my hand up and did guffaw. It means a hearty laughter. I got that
Oh.
from Howie Mandel, the
Hmm.
comedian. He's from Canada, and so it means a hearty laughter. And so, I wanted to do something a little different when I scored a goal, so I decided to do a guffaw. And then Keenan started at the start. He said, "Don't ever do that again." But I kept scoring. I said, I like it, and so it stuck. And then so even after when I finished my career for the Flyers, I ran the Medford ice rink
Hmm.
in Medford,
Yeah.
teaching all the
Medford.
young players how to play hockey and score and skate and things like that. So I taught them, hey, listen, every time you get an A for school, do the guffaw and tell your teachers that you did a good job. And so it stuck, and then it's been really good. And then now like the last 7 years, like I have my own cigar brand from
Right.
the
I was going to
Dominican.
ask you about that. That's great, man. Talk about that.
Cigars.
Talk about is it the Guffaw cigar brand?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. So I have my own Guffaw cigars from the Dominican Republic,
Nice.
and the distributors in Chicago. So I went with Ken Dunnick like 7 or 8 years ago with my son Jackson, and we did a little trip visiting a couple people and then a couple factories, and
Hmm.
then decided to make my own brand after that. It took me a year to set it up, but I was really happy the way they came out. Like I started with my boxes of 10, limited edition boxes of 10, and 56 by 5 inch. And when they sold okay, then I
Hmm.
decided to make a mild, a medium, and a Maduro 56 by 6 inch. They're
Yeah.
good for golfers, like little they could smoke a little longer. And but the guys that I've like them, they keep reordering for me, so it's good. Everything's online, but it's gaffawcigars.com.
Oh, okay, so it's Guffaw Cigars. So it's GUFFAW cigars.com. I'm gonna have to check that out,
Yeah.
man. I like the Maduro. I need something with a little punch.
Oh yeah, well, I love my Maduro. Like
Yeah.
it has 7 blends of tobacco on it, but it's
Wow.
not too strong. It's just and a lot of people really like it, and so. but they're all really good. But just something that I do, and I enjoy it, and I people enjoy that too.
Of course, of course. One of the things I've always wondered about with hockey, I mean, we see injuries and things like that in football, but you guys are on ice, man. The ice is hard. It's cold and it's hard. I know you suffered a concussion one time that really kind of shook you up a little bit or messed with your game a little bit. But tell me about some of the injuries that you had while you were playing hockey and how those affected you during your professional career.
Yeah, so like in the '80s, it was a little different because it was more physical, and
Right.
you get caution, glab, and hang on. Sort of like football. Now it's a little more faster, and they can't touch anybody in hockey now, and so it's just so different because you can play for a lot of years now. But in the '80s, like I had a hand injury, like that. I missed 27 games. Like I had a hole in my
Wow.
artery, and so
Wow.
missed 27 games for that,
Hmm.
and had a knee, and then a dislocated shoulder, and an eye. But other than that, like not too bad. I'm still
What do you
happy to
mean?
be.
You said an eye. What happened to your eye? What is it, an
Well,
eye?
I got hit in the eye with a
Oh, with a
stick.
stick?
Just
Wow.
sort of like Bernie Pront, like he lost his eye. Like it could have been the same as me, but I just had a high femur. I only missed 8 games for that. So other than that, I just have floaters every once in a while that I can see. But
Wow. So you still
you
that
know, in
still
the, in
has.
the 80s it was different. It was more physical, and but it's more fun. And in the
What do you mean
80s,
more
yeah.
fun? What do you mean you guys get smashed into walls and you fall on ice? Come on, what do you mean it's more fun? That's not more
Yeah,
fun.
well, yeah, but like we don't have phones or videos at that time. We hung with the fans, and we had drank with them and partied with
Okay.
them, and so it's a little different, But yeah, and plus, for the Flyers, we always seem to win. We were in the playoffs every year when I was there, which is important because you don't want to get if you're not in the playoffs, you're out of it, and so like it just we had consistent teams in the '80s, and
Hmm.
then Ed Snyder was a great leader, and of course Bob Clark and Dave Poulin and Kim Koo, Mark Howe, and then Tockett and Zezel. Because I know most of the guys from football too, from Jaworski's golf course in
Hmm.
the '80s, and he does a lot of charities. I keep getting asked to them because I play bare feet, so
Yeah,
I
well,
go
I'm
on.
gonna ask you about that a little bit later on. Why you play? This man plays. We're out on the golf course. All the celebrities were going out, and you walk by Brian Propp, and he doesn't have any shoes on because he plays golf barefooted. I'm going to ask you about that in a little bit later. But you how frustrating was it, or maybe it wasn't? I'm sure it was though. You're a competitor. How frustrating was it for you to get to the Stanley Cup Finals 5 times, but never to get over the hump, man?
Yeah, well, I look at it as like you do the best you can,
Hmm.
and it's a team effort. And individuals don't win everything.
Right.
A bounce here or there could have made a difference for a Stanley Cup. Like in the overtime in Game 6, if we scored, take it to Game 7 in Philadelphia, maybe we won a Stanley Cup there. But you don't know that. But
Hmm.
at the start, I was a rookie, and I played in the Stanley Cup, the final first year, and then '85 and '87, and of course, like Lemieux and Gretzky and Edmonton is really tough. The Islanders won 4 in a row, then Edmonton's won like 4 in a row, and then I went into to Boston and lost against Edmonton, and then of course Mario Lemaine took
Yeah.
over when we lost in Minnesota. So you had the best players in the world playing against them,
Hmm.
and we were competitive and just kind of couldn't quite get there, but I'm just happy that I did as well as I did. Like I had played with good players. That's why my stats in the playoffs are so good,
Right.
because you have people that play with you that help you, and But yeah, it's tough to win. Like I know, like in hockey, some of the best players get a lot of points, but they never make the playoffs.
Right.
But they're
Right.
known for their points that they
The
get.
scoring.
So
Yeah.
to me, it just matters like in the playoffs and how they're doing with that, and it makes more sense to see, hey, listen, he's a much better player in the playoffs rather than just stats that don't mean anything.
So you're a highly, I mean, I'm not saying anything different that we all don't know, but you're a highly decorated former NHL player. You've been successful. You've done it at a high level. You've done it next to some of the greatest players, hockey players in the game, and you're right up there with them. And now you have this big challenge that comes in your life with your health. You have a massive stroke, and you couldn't walk and you couldn't talk. Tell everybody about that, man. That, because this is what the Fryar Place is all about. It's not just about, us talking sports, and that's good, where people can hear about a particular sport from the eye and the voice of someone who's been on the field or been on the ice or been there and done that. But we all have challenges just like everybody else, whether it's family challenges, whether it's health challenges, whether it's financial challenges. Professional athletes are just a microcosm of the rest of the world. And we deal with natural tragedies, we deal with tragedies and hard times and challenges just like everybody else. You had to deal with a massive stroke. I mean, that's the way I heard you describe it, a massive stroke, and you couldn't walk, you couldn't talk. Talk about that, when it happened and what happened and how you had to deal with it, man. And now you're back. You're back.
Yeah.
You're doing your thing. You don't look like what you've been through. You don't sound like what you've been through. Things look and sound well for you. So talk to the people about that.
Yeah. So after my career of hockey, I realized that I was an AFib, which means like the heart, it doesn't do the same thing. So I had to start taking blood thinners with my doctor after my Flyers career was over. And so I didn't, and I was younger, I was like 55 when I didn't want to take blood thinners my whole life. So I had an ablation of the heart, which kind of cuts the ends out and makes it a little better. And then it was supposed to be okay, so that I didn't have to take blood thinners. But I think after time, the ablation medication wore off. And I still played hockey twice a week in New Jersey with some guys that I know. I was in good shape. I was on a vacation with my family in Annapolis, and then we were visiting the Navy school with my son Jackson. First day I was okay. The second day we rented a house, and I just stayed in the back because I had a really bad headache. And that night, in the middle of the night, I fell out of bed, hit the side of the bed. I lost a tooth. All years playing hockey, never lost a tooth.
You retire and lose a tooth on the bed. Yeah. That's funny, man. That's funny. I don't mean to laugh, but that's funny.
And so, but thankfully, my family was there to call 911 because I didn't know what was going on. Like I couldn't talk or walk at all. Wow. And so, thankfully, they were there within half an hour and in Annapolis. And so, but it's difficult at the start because not being able to talk or speak or know if you'd ever getting wetter, and so what happened is that the clot went into my heart, into my brain, 3 different places. Wow. And the doctors later said they were amazed that I'm still alive. So I think that my dad, that being with faith, had something to do about that because I'm a believer in God, and so that could have made a big difference. But it took me a year and a half. A lot with speech therapists and occupational therapists and physical therapists, especially the first 6 weeks. I had to get a stomach, shot in the stomach just to take care of the medication. But it was really difficult for me to talk. It took me a few months before I could even say anything. And then, of course, the first two things I said was Bernie Propp. I didn't know why. It just came out. He's the best goalie the Flyers had.
Right.
Maybe the initials of B. Brian or Brian Propp, B. Priest, I don't know, but not even my family's name. So, but it just came to me. So I was thankful that at least something got started. and it's been 9 years since I had my stroke, and
Mhm.
so I've done a lot of things over the last few years to help me get much better, and there's lots of things that you can do to help you, but thankfully for my speech came back. I had the NHL program had a program that they did stem cell treatment for me in California.
Mhm.
No, Carolina. No, where Avalanche is, like the Rockies are.
Okay.
Uh,
Mhm.
Carolina. No, not Carolina, but Colorado.
Colorado
Colorado.
is where the Rockies are. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
Colorado
I
Rockies.
did the stem cell treatment there. They took the cells from my hip, recirculated the blood, and then they put the cells back into your body, and that immediately noticed a big difference because a lot of the football players use the stem cell
Mhm.
treatment too for their shoulders and knees and other things too.
Right.
So I immediately noticed a big difference with my speech, which made it much easier to talk and to kind of think about things. And so just fortunate about that, and but just after time, you just kept working at it. As I said, I didn't know if I'd ever talk or walk again. But the only thing that are affected is my right fingers and the right side. Uh, I can't do much. I have to do things left-handed now. But other than that, I'm so fortunate to be alive and
Mhm.
happy, and just
Yeah.
you have, as most people. My dad always taught me, like when I was leaving for Brandon when I was 17, he said, "I tell you what, just be happy with your own life. Everything else takes care of itself." So
Wow.
many people that I know don't follow that rule. They complain about everything. They're not happy. They're negative. And so I said, my dad did me a favor just by, hey, it's being happy with your own life, and everything else takes care of itself. Be
That's
positive and give back and be humble.
that is that is excellent advice. I was telling somebody the other day, I heard somebody speaking and they were saying, I can't remember who it was, but they were saying, you know what? I can't expect other people to make me happy. I have to bring happy to the table. I have to come happy, whether it's a relationship, whether it's on the job, whatever it is I'm doing. But I can't expect other people. We should not expect other people to try to make us happy. Put that expectation on them. No, I need to bring happy to the table. I need to be happy with who I am, where I am, how I look, whatever's going on. I need to learn how to be happy and content with my situation. Yeah, work hard and keep pressing forward. Any challenges that you have, yeah, don't give up. Keep on stressing and striving to do better and be better. But I also need to understand how to be happy with where I am and who I am, because somebody else can't make me happy. Happy comes from within the inside, on the
Yeah.
inside, my own temperament, my own mentality. So that's during the time that you were, I'm not going to say at your worst, but during that time when you couldn't speak and you couldn't walk, what were some of the thoughts going through your head, man?
Well, I was always thinking that, hey, listen, I don't know if I'd ever talk or walk again. But the brain is a powerful thing.
Hmm.
You have to be positive, and after time, I figured out, because I always wanted something that I was thinking that I always wanted to have something happen quickly, because like even in my rehab, I wanted to go faster and
Right.
and take my time, but the brain takes time to heal, and so I figured it out like a couple months into it that you have to be patient and just take your time and let your brain heal. I know, because when I was the ambassador for Bancroft in New Jersey for 3 years, they had the stroke and brain injury people. So I did a lot of talking with them. So I told people, hey, listen, when it first gets started, just be patient,
Hmm.
because it's not going to happen fast, but wait like a couple months and you'll see how much better you get.
Hmm.
And so it just you have to be patient with them, and tell them, hey, listen, just your brain has to heal a little better. You can't just let it happen again, and like it's going to be okay.
Right.
So,
Right.
and then rehab means a different. because a lot of people that I know that had strokes and brain injuries, like they get rehab at the start and then they forget it and then they don't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell them, hey, listen, you've got to keep up with the rehab because it makes a big difference. Like for me, the best thing that I found out when I was doing speech therapist, like I couldn't speak at all. So what I did as an excuse is I read newspapers out loud.
Hmm.
Just it takes a long time, but getting the names
Right.
and the sentences made a big difference just by reading out loud. Because
Mm-hmm.
I still have aphasia that I sometimes get mixed up with names and
Mm-hmm.
math.
Well, heck, I
Uh,
do that.
yeah, the football guys too, right?
Yeah, I get
One-
look. I get mixed up with names and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
too. So I just chalk it up to old age.
yeah, yeah. Well, like Brian Propp, like he was good because he just said, "Hey guy, hey guy,
There
hey
you
guy."
go.
He didn't have to
Yeah.
remember his name.
That's good stuff, man. So as a result of your recovery, you wrote a book, right?
Yes,
He wrote a book
I wrote
entitled
the book.
Angel on My Wing. Wow, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So Wayne Fish, he's been a writer from the Flyers. Like when I first got there in '79 and '80. So I've known him for all those years, and so he helped me with the book. It just came up like in November, but it took 2 years. We did a year of all recordings, and then they edited it 9 months later, and so it came out pretty nice. And so I was just really happy with it, and but it tells a story of faith and a little bit about hockey and then my stroke and how to recover from my stroke.
Hmm.
So a lot of people that will read it can find out a little bit more good hints that I did that can help them themselves too. So and it's on Amazon, and the book is from Triumph Books in
Hmm.
Chicago.
Hmm.
But in Canada, it's Indigo is where they. But I have lots of people in Canada that already ordered the books, and so and I was in Philadelphia for a month, going to the Flyer games and
Hmm.
some other events, some cigar events, and promoting the book. And so, well, I keep promoting it all the time because just getting in front of other people, they can find out more, and then
Right.
it's more for me telling a story about stroke and how I recover from a stroke. I
Well,
didn't want to write a hockey book
right.
that makes sense, but it kind of ended up to be this way.
Well, it's a book about reality. It's a book about real life. And all of us can use an extra dose of a real human story concerning faith and determination and courage, because at some point, nobody is exempt from trouble. Nobody is exempt from heartache and tribulation in their life. What happened to you could very easily happen to any one of us. And in order to recover, and I'm sure sports, hockey, in terms of your resilience, in terms of your positive thinking, in terms of your stick with itness and your determination, having played hockey at that level that you did and had the success that you did, took hard work and resilience and determination, and you just shifted that over into your recovery. And that's what it takes. But hearing stories like this really allows people, when they're able to reach out and not necessarily touch people or celebrities like yourself, not necessarily touch them literally, but touch them and gain knowledge about them through information in a book like this about real life. It encourages them. It may give them the strength and the determination and the focus and the stick withiness that they need to overcome whatever it is they're dealing with. So if you're watching right now, listen, it's on Amazon. That's where I got this picture from. It's on Amazon. Let's help Brian out. Let's support him. But it's a story that probably will help you in whatever it is you're dealing with, because we all need faith. We all need to exercise determination, and we all need to exercise courage, overcoming those things in our lives that we have to deal with on an everyday basis. That's good stuff, Brian. Good stuff, man. I appreciate you. Listen, you're a golfer. How's your golf game? Why do you play golf barefooted? Why?
Because like I'm always on the fairway and the place.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that what it
Yeah.
is?
Well, no, but and plus, now I used to be a good golfer before my stroke. I was like a 4 handicap. I could hit the ball over 300 yards. But after my stroke, like at the start, I could only hit it 70 yards. But
Mm-hmm.
now I can hit it about 200 or 220, but
Mm-hmm.
pretty straight. And but I'm probably like a 14 handicap right now. But it's not too bad as long as I have fun and enjoy people I'm with and meet other people and tell other stories and be positive and a little competitive. But
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just it's good for you. And because most of the athletes that we know are the top of their time,
Right.
their game, and so they're competitive. And so when you play with them, it's nice because hey, they miss a putt. There's some way you can run it in, or
Yep.
you rub it into them or not. But it depends on who you're playing with. But like I played a couple of those celebrity events in Atlantic City, and
Uh-huh.
one was at Blue Heron Pines, and one was I played with uh, Mike Smith.
Okay.
He didn't even talk to me. And then I played with another hockey player. We talked all the time, and so it was so different because he didn't want to. He wanted to win so bad. He forgot why he was there. And then of course I played with Joe Pesci. He was
Uh-huh.
late, teen over, and played with Barclow, Barclay. He is
Barkley,
brutal.
yeah. Yeah, that was brutal. I thought Barkley has improved his game. I thought he got better.
Well, I don't know. That was like 15 years ago. So
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't
he
think
was
it
yeah,
has
he was terrible back then. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm about a 14 handicap, but I'm that cat, I'm very competitive. I am determined, Brian, to get down to a single digit handicap. Even if I have to go to one of these golf camps and spend some time with a professional golfer, I'm going to get down to a single digit handicap. I'm just determined. I made up my mind about 2 years ago to start hitting balls and chipping and putting and all that kind of stuff because I wanna go out and not embarrass myself. Because you can embarrass
Well, you're
yourself
not
in golf.
embarrassing yourself. Like you're one of the top 10% in the you shoot more than less than 100, and so but like you want to get it's easy. You you don't think about it. Like I play really fast. I'm probably the
Okay.
fastest player that everyone will play with. Is like I get up and go, and then I keep going and going again. So like, but people like that. But for me, it's just don't think too much. Like if you think about it, when the hole's over, just forget about it. And like if you make a birdie, that's great. If you
Uh-huh.
double bigger, so like you just forget about it and just and a lot of it's putting. Like I'm pretty good about I putt two putt almost every time. Like
Really?
even if it's a
Wow.
longer putt, you have to get close the first time and then make the second putt.
Right.
Otherwise, you miss a short putt, and it starts adding up.
Oh yeah, and it starts wearing on your confidence.
Yeah.
my problem with putting is that matter of fact, I got some of these things that came in today. I'm probably gonna cheat with these, but my problem with putting is I oftentimes if it's a long putt, I'll misread the putt, so I think it's gonna break right, and I hit it the right distance, but it breaks left, and then it ends up farther away from the hole because it's going away from the hole. So I got these. I'm going to say this online. I got these ball marks the other day that are
Yeah.
they're actually levelers. It's actually a leveler. It's got a dot in there, so when you put it behind your ball, it'll tell you which way the ball's going to
Great.
roll, right or left. If it's uphill, downhill, yeah. So I'm gonna do a little cheating here for for a
No,
little while.
awesome.
I got
Yeah.
5 of them, so next time I see you, I'll give you one.
All right.
Ask me
Yeah.
about it.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, you have to two putt less.
2 putt. Yeah, yeah, or 3 putt less. Put it that way. 3 putt
Yeah.
less.
Yeah. So three putt
So,
less. Yeah.
so you still didn't answer my question why you play golf barefooted? Not because you're in the
Well,
fairway.
yeah. Well, because I always like it because it's when I have to wear shoes, my left foot gets sore if I have to put shoes on. So I
Okay.
don't wear shoes.
Wow. You don't wear shoes all the time?
Well, I have to play in some golf clubs. You
Oh,
have to. I'm forced to. But yeah, where I am in Florida, it's always nice and greens are always nice, and so yeah, but I'm always in the fairway.
always in the fairway. I wish I could say that, man. I need to hit more fairways. So listen, before I let you go, first of all, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you accepting my invitation to be here at the Fryar Place. Can't wait to see you next time. We're always, crossing paths at these golf tournaments, at these events. What's your prediction? You brought it up earlier. What is your prediction for next weekend? The Eagles are playing a rematch Super Bowl 57 2 years ago. Here we are, Super Bowl 59. It's a rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs. The Eagles are a different team. I believe they're a better team, but it's the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. What's your prediction?
Well, KC has trouble stopping the run, but with Bancroft or 26, he can run
Barkley,
and
Saquon,
then
yeah.
and then the top wide receivers can play better.
Mm-hmm.
Like haven't
AJ,
gotten the ball too much,
yeah.
but as long as they're running the ball, they know. I like the way that the Eagles are right now because they're playing as a team. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're not making excuses. They're doing whatever they have to win, and to win a Super Bowl, you need that.
Right.
It's like don't be special. Just everyone wins, and then you win as a team. So I
Right.
really like the way that they've been set up for next week.
Mm-hmm.
And KC's it's tough, but I think that as long as the kicker doesn't miss a couple times.
Jake Elliott better get it together, huh? Well, you know what? Listen, and I come from old school like you. So when I was playing ball all the way through till I finished playing ball, we didn't talk to the kickers. We didn't like the kickers. And we had a saying that we never want to leave the game in the kicker's hands. We don't ever want to put it in the kicker's hands. Always do what you're going to do, get it done, catch the ball, score touchdowns, but never allow the game to get to a point to where we're on the sidelines hoping and praying that the kicker kicks the ball through the uprights to win the game. Because the kickers don't have skin in the game like we do. We're over there practicing, going through 2 days, and they're out there barefooted, hitting golf balls while we're in full pads, sweating and getting lumped up, getting injuries. Kickers don't get injuries. So kickers were different. When I was coming through and I was playing, we just really didn't like the kickers because there were games that would be lost and we're losing playoff money or losing Super Bowls because the kicker missed the kick. And that's his only job. Kick the ball through the uprights. Jake Elliott better get it together. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, it's an exciting time. Thanks for having me on the show, and go Eagles.
Yes, go Eagles. Brian, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being on today. You taught me a lot about hockey, stuff I did not know. Oh, you're left wing. What is left wing?
Well, so it's like if people understand basketball, like there's five on a side. So there's the left winger, and usually the center iceman is the playmaker. And
Okay.
then the right shot and the left they pass the puck and then they score. And then defensemen are there to defend, and then of course the goalie. So it's but you have to kind of know the game. It's like basketball, like they have picks and things like that, special plays, and then you just have to find a spot where you want to shoot the puck and to score a goal with, But and like for us, we had Tim Kerr, who was a big, strong guy. He stood in front of the net and then he deflected the ball and the shots in, and so that's how Mark Powell passed it to deflect, and then you have trouble time stopping him.
Right. So for my simple-minded self, your left wing meant you were on the left side.
Yes, and then the center iceman is a playmaker, and then the right shotters are like the shooters too.
All right, I'm gonna
So
have to
still
look this up,
the
man.
center icemen are the passers. So
I,
like they keep passing to the left wingers
I
to
have a
score goals.
I have a nephew that's really, really into hockey. He's 34, 35 years old, 36 years old. He's really into hockey, and he knows exactly what's going on. I'm going to have to look him up and ask him about some of these positions and start getting, knowledgeable about this game. Listen, Brian, I'm going to have you back if that's all right with you. At sometime in the near future. It was good talking to you. I only do this for an hour. I try not to keep the people on too long, but we did not finish. There's other things we can talk about, and we will do that. But y'all don't forget about his book, Angel on My Wing. You can find it on Amazon. Let's support him. But not only that, when we read the book, we'll be encouraged, we'll be informed, we'll get the knowledge that we need so that when we find ourselves in trying times, we can pull up and exercise our faith, our determination, and our courage. B-Pop, thanks, brother. I appreciate you. All righty. All right. I'll see you next time. And I'm going to text you after I get off the line. I got to do some commercials and talk to the people for a minute. All right, brother? All right. God bless you. Thank you. All righty. All right. That was Brian. I've never had a hockey player on the show before. That was pretty good. I learned a little bit. I've never been to a hockey game before. I have a tough time watching hockey on TV because particularly now in my older age, I can't see the puck on the screen. It moves too fast. I don't know about you, but I've heard people say many of times over and over again that you have to go to a hockey game in person. You have to go to a professional hockey game and watch in person because it's so exciting. I have yet to do that. I don't really understand why it is so exciting, but that's on my bucket list. It is on my bucket list. And I've met Brian and been in his presence numerous times, and he's a great guy, great story when it comes to perseverance and resilience and determination and just bouncing back. We all face, if we haven't in our lives as of yet, we will. Just keep on living. We all face tough times in our lives where we either are going to swell up and address it and go after it and try to keep moving, or we're going to give in to the pressure. We'll shrivel up and fall back. And that's not human resilience. That's not what we're supposed to do. We get stronger, we can become better, become more of who we are when we stand up and meet the challenges that life throws at us and play the hand that we're dealt and come out winners on the other side. That's what it's all about, y'all. It's all about the comeback story. Not being knocked down, but how many times you can get up. Get knocked down 7 times, can you get up that 8th time? Yeah, that's Rocky right there. Eddie Casper, he said ditto. Good to see you, brother. Billy Bell's in the house. What happened to my cursor there? Billy Bell's in the house. Richard Melton. Richard Melton's a great story and a courageous man. Proof of we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Yes, sir. I was very encouraged and strengthened with Brian's story. That's great, Richard. I'm glad you're happy right now because, you weren't happy because the Bills did not make it to the Super Bowl. But I'm glad we were able to lift you up today with our guest and his story. Eddie Casper in the house. Vincent Capriati in the house. Good to see all of you. Tainted Rose. What's going on, Tainted Rose? Good to see you. Peter Lombard. What's that? Lombari. Yeah, Lombari. What's going on? Hope Wiley, my sis. Mama, I see you. Shout out to all of you. All right. Let me give you this commercial. Stouffer Structures. This is our major sponsor for the Fryar Place. Stouffer Structures. Stouffer Structures is a 49-year-old family business. It's a storage shed and garage company located in the heart of the Amish country. Yeah, out there where it's quiet and life is slower. They ship structures nationwide. So wherever you are, you can look them up on mysheds.com. Get things done, make your purchase. No matter where you are, they will get it to you in a timely manner. They strive to be the undisputed choice of modular garages, sheds, and outdoor living products in the United States. whilst yet still furthering the kingdom of God. Stolfus Structures is known for their fast delivery, great quality, and great client service. So if you're looking for a garage or a shed or any kind of outdoor living product, y'all, Stolfus Structures is the way to go. You can find Stolfus Structures on mysheds.com. That's mysheds.com. And if you mention the Fryar Place or you mention Irving Fryar, 10% off of your purchase. Whatever it is you purchase, 10% off. All right. Listen, we're out of here. Next week, we will, I think I'm going to go on, I may go on Thursday. We'll probably go on live Thursday because Friday, guess what? We're on our way to the Super Bowl. So look for us to be on Thursday night here at the Fryar Place, where the conversations are fire. We'll have a guest for Thursday, and then we'll see you that following Friday after the Super Bowl, after the Philadelphia Eagles are hoisting up that Lombardi trophy, because they are going to beat the brakes off the Chiefs. Yes, indeed. Go Birds. Y'all be kind to yourself. I see you, Richard. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others because you reap what you sow. See you next week here at the Fryar Place, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Peace.